to keep your constitutional rights intact. Conversely, Senator John McCain has consistently voted to get rid of your civil liberties. Now, the issue of character has come up in the latest election. By the time you hear this show and watch this show, the election may have already been held November the 4th, 2008. Hopefully this will be seen before then, because you need to know that John McCain has consistently supported laws that would take away your freedom. And this is not partisanship. This is not a so-called endorsement for Barack Obama. This is an endorsement, but it is for the United States of America, and it is to keep our freedom. Now, we're going to get to the Military Commissions Act, and we're going to talk about the Real ID Act. But before we do, I'm going to go a little bit to the left and right, and I'm going to ask Linnell his thoughts on this. But let me just tell you something. John McCain has disappointed me, and very much so. You see, John McCain did fight in Vietnam. He is a war veteran. He did fight for America's freedom. But that John McCain has disappeared. How can a man supposedly fight for America's freedom in the 60s and early 70s, and then vote for laws that would take away parts of the First and Fourth Amendment, allow people to be detained without a lawyer, and vote to end and suspend habeas corpus? How can a man who supposedly cares about country decide that every American needs to carry around an ID card similar to the biblical statement of Mark of the Beast? If we're going to talk about character, John McCain's character comes into question, because John McCain has turned his back on this nation. Something else John McCain has recently done. John McCain said, and his advisor said, if we talk about the economy, I will lose this election. Or if we talk about this economy, we'll lose the election. So John McCain's campaign suddenly doesn't want to talk about the economy while these terrible financial crises are going on. So I'm going to ask Linnell, but to me, that doesn't sound like country first. You know what it sounds like? John McCain must win at any cost. And if my fellow Americans don't have any financial future, that's all right. If they are in hysterics and terrified, I'm not going to do anything to calm their nerves. No, I'm not going to talk about the economy because I may lose. So that is not country first. That's John McCain and Sarah Palin first. And no, I am not in love with Barack Obama. Barack Obama voted in favor of the recent FISA law. He made a huge mistake doing that. He also voted in favor of the bailout, as did John McCain. So yes, Barack Obama has made some mistakes. I'm not going to paint it a pretty picture when it's ugly. But overall, it is Barack Obama who will repeal these laws that are taking away your freedom. Overall, it is Barack Obama who is constantly talking about the bailout and how we can get help. You want to talk about character, McCain campaign? You don't have any character as far as I'm concerned. You want to talk about character, start talking about the economy, and don't worry about whether or not you win. It's not about John McCain, my fellow Americans. It's not about Barack Obama. It's about America and the future of this nation. Am I a long-winded pain in the ass? Maybe so. But I'll continue to be a pain in John McCain's ass. I'll be a pain in Barack Obama's ass. I'll be a pain in anybody's ass when it comes to defending my nation. And if you don't like me saying the word ass, well, guess what? Forget about it. I'm going to say it when it's appropriate. Right now, it's very appropriate. We need to save America. So if this comes on before the election, You need to get to the polls and you need to vote. If it comes on after the election, you need to write to the next president of the United States. That's right, the elected president. You need to write to them before they even get to be sworn in, and you tell them you want these laws repealed. Now, I've spoken a lot, but before I have Linnell say anything about the Military Commissions Act or Real ID Act, I need to ask him about Barack Obama's character, but not before I ask him about John McCain's character. I know how I feel, and yes, I do, by the way, feel that Barack Obama is an honorable man, and I do believe he is the only man that will protect this country without destroying our liberty. And now, after all that business of speaking, it is now time for the amazing Linnell Jones III. Your thoughts on character?
Well, my thoughts on character is that from the beginning, we have an administration currently that has us engaged in a long-term war. It seems to me that this administration is willing to continue and has continued this war at all costs. There's been a phenomenal amount of American lives that have been lost in this continuation of this. And it seems to me that McCain, being a war veteran, does not necessarily make him a hero, because he is instrumental, as Al said, in fighting for taking away some of the rights and liberties that we once enjoyed. And he is willing to win this election at all cost. And guess who's paying that cost? You are, America. You are. Keep that in mind, because he's not paying the cost. Yes, he was a war veteran. Yes, he did fight for our country. But that does not necessarily make him a hero. Now, as far as Barack Obama, Barack Obama has mentioned numerous times that he is willing to repeal certain laws that have gone into place. He's mentioned that continuously through his campaign. I think that myself as an American, as an American voter, that sounds like a little bit like music to my ear, because he's willing to protect what our forefathers and our grandfathers, uncles, brothers, cousins, and aunts, and sisters, and daughters have fought for in wars in the past. So that sounds a little bit like music to my ear when I can hear a candidate at least go in that direction. So we got a lot of serious things to think about, America. You need to go to those polls. You need to vote. You need to think about your children if you're not thinking about yourself. You need to think about your children's children and what kind of a legacy are we going to leave them. So you need to think about it. You need to get out there and vote. If you don't, something's wrong with you. If you get this show after Election Day, if you have voted, that's taken the first step in the direction that we need to go in as a nation and as Americans. So I tend to go with somebody who is willing to stand up and fight for me, not fight with me. And it seems to me that John McCain is pretty used to fighting, but is he fighting for you or is he fighting against you? Think about it, America. Get out there and vote November 4th.
Well, I thank you, Linnell. Let me just say, before we call in the character Barack Obama or McCain, I'm not going to lie, I'm disappointed in things that both have done. But I find it appalling that John McCain's campaign would say, if we continue to talk about the economy, we're going to lose this election.